This video is brought to you by War Thunder. More about them in the middle of the video. Superhero movies. Whether it's Ryan Reynolds with cancer, Robert Downey Jr. with metal, Benedict Cumberbatch with clock, Jared Leto, or Mark Ruffalo with green, it's safe to say most people have seen at least one or 37 superhero movies in their lifetime. But then comes the debate of how good actually are they? You know, the critics' outlook. Where do they fit on the hierarchy of highbrow cinema?
You can take this 2-minute IQ test.
If that even matters. I mean, some superhero movies have gone on to win awards in various categories in the past, and they certainly rake in a shed load of cash at the box office with their giga fan bases. Then you have Martin Scorsese, who claims that superhero movies aren't cinema.
The Marvel-type pictures. The theaters become amusement parks. It's not cinema, it's something else.
And he's the bloke in the cinema meme, so he knows what he's on about. Well, regardless of what you personally think of superhero movies, as with all movies, they all have an average rating on sites like Rotten Tomatoes, if you're over the age of 50, IMDb, and Letterboxd. And that got me thinking, what actually are some of the lowest rated superhero movies on these sites? And after a bit of digging to answer that question, I rediscovered a movie from my childhood that had been pulled from the deep recesses of my mind. Now, regardless of whether you like superhero movies or not, something we can all agree on is that these days, with cinematic universes made up of countless movies, spin-off TV shows, it's quite hard to keep up. You miss one movie or one show and you're out of the loop. The cinematic universe has moved into a new phase. You're behind. Now there's a bunch of new blokes on the screen that you've never seen before, talking about a bunch of shit you don't know. Well, don't you fret, because I have a standalone superhero movie just for you. No cinematic universe, no sequels, just an eye-watering 5% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 2.2 average rating on Letterboxd. And that movie is Zoom, a 2006 family comedy superhero movie starring lead man Tim Allen, who you might know from The Santa Claus, where he plays, well, Santa Claus, after the real Santa literally dies. Oh, and that plastic space bloke from Toy Story. Well, with a $75 million production budget, it pulled in a whopping $12.5 million globally. Only a $62.5 million loss. Well, the movie synopsis says Jack Shepherd, that's Tim Allen, is an out-of-shape auto shop owner, far removed from the man who once protected the world's freedom. Reluctantly called back into action by the government, Jack is tasked with turning a ragtag group of kids with special powers into a new generation of superheroes to save the world from certain destruction. Sounds incredible. Now, no joke here, as a kid, I remember loving this movie. I actually watched it multiple times. I was surprised to see the poor reviews, if I'm honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't think it was going to be a masterpiece of cinema, but boy are these reviews rough. So, to set the record straight, I thought, in what is the first movie video on the channel in 4 years, we could revisit Zoom, all watch it together, and see if it still holds up from when I enjoyed it as a child. If it's as good as I remember, great. If it's shit, great. So slip your lycra on, put your mask on your face, get your cape at the ready, and lock in as we revisit Zoom. So the movie opens with an animated comic book sequence that works to give us some background lore. We learn that with his superhuman speed, Zoom, or Jack Shepherd, or Tim Allen, was a part of an elite team of superheroes called Team Zenith. Imagine like a shitty Avengers. Well, among the members of Team Zenith was Zoom's brother, Concussion. At some point along their mission of saving the world, the government steps in and decides that the heroes of Team Zenith need stronger powers. So to get round this, they decide to blast them with gamma radiation. But as a result of said radiation, while Zoom got faster and stronger, the same couldn't be said for Concussion, who had now become evil. And as a result, he betrayed Team Zenith, causing Zoom to not only lose his brother,
your fucking brother,
but his powers too. Now, how that makes sense, I have no clue. But there you go. Overall, as an intro, not awful. I mean, the animation was nice and the transitions were clever. Sure, they did give us a bunch of info to digest within the first few minutes of the film, but that's nothing that hasn't been done in a ton of movies before. And what a lovely message for the kids, eh? When everything is going great, the government will always want more and find a way to blast you with toxic, deadly radiation. Okay, well, they don't exactly do that, but tax is pretty annoying, isn't it? We'll skip forward to the modern day. Well, the early 2000s. We see a chopper cruising across a desert landscape Really showing off that $75 million budget there. Well, it eventually arrives at a secret military bunker hidden within the side of a cliff, and the title screen rolls. Inside said bunker, lead military scientist Dr. Grant, played by none other than Chevy Chase of all people, explains that a strange anomaly is hurtling towards their location.
Moving toward our time-space continuum.
I speak Greek, not geek.
Yeah, cheers, mate. But what is this anomaly, I hear you ask? Well, it's only bloody concussion. That's right, he's not only back, but he's on the attack. And he has a concussion countdown. Arrival in just 12 days. So within the first 10 minutes of the movie, we've learned who Concussion is, that he turned evil, supposedly died, but then learned he's not actually dead, and he's attacking the military. Moving on, so with the imminent threat from a bloke named after a head injury, the military decides that the only solution is to reboot the Zenith program.
I'm reactivating the Zenith program.
And plan to find a bunch of odd children to form a new Team Zenith of young heroes.
Find me some kids. Misfits, outcasts, weirdos.
And there is only one man who can lead this team. Tim Allen, of course. So cut to Slow Jack's auto shop, and we finally get a glimpse of Jack making a smoothie. He hesitantly looks around, and then... Honestly, these jokes just write themselves. Anyway, he spots Courtney Cox. You know, that lass from that sitcom about a bunch of mates. Well, a car narrowly misses her and she falls over. So to recover from her falling over, her and Jack head inside the garage and she falls over. Then Dr. Grant turns up out of nowhere, looking like a 70s music exec.
I'm in love with my car.
And explains the entire situation to Jack.
A new Zenith team.
We also learn Courtney Cox's true identity.
This is Miss Holloway.
I'm a psychologist.
Now, with Jack being hesitant about the plan, Dr. Grant pulls a gun out. Thankfully, Miss Holloway swiftly knocks the gun out of the way of Jack, but the dart ricochets off the roof and into him anyway, knocking him out instantly.
Shoot him!
Ow!
So in short, Chevy Chase and Monica from Friends kidnap Santa Claus. Well, after a post-kidnap transition, we're introduced to 4 children. Cindy Collins, age 6, Summer Jones, age 16, and like every 2000s movie teenager, actress Kate Mara was 23 years old at the time of recording. Only a 6-year age gap from her character's age. Then you have Dylan West, age 17, also 23, and Tucker Williams, age 12. Now, if you recognise actor Spencer Breslin from somewhere, whilst being a busy lad in the early 2000s, he was the kid from the smash hit Cat in the Hat.
Oh, yeah!
Honestly, once you're in that movie, your career has peaked. Nothing is topping that. Well, what follows may be the single most 2000s montage ever to work as a display of the kid's powers. Cindy gets in an altercation with a bully and throws a bloke in the tree. Summer makes some stew explode with a noggin. Dylan does some maths and then vanishes. And Tucker, well, you can just watch what happens. Now, honestly, as a naive, silly little child, I remember thinking that this montage sequence was the best piece of cinema I had ever seen. But jokes aside, watching it back all these years later, it's honestly not that bad, really. It's harmless. It's just a fun, cheesy 2000s montage. Sure, it doesn't really make any sense why Dylan went invisible to do some maths, whereas all the other kids had some sort of reason. But oh wait, how can I forget that this montage is soundtracked with the song Hang On by Smash Mouth, which is not only a banger, but it fits the sequence really well in my opinion. In fact, this movie is basically entirely soundtracked by Smash Mouth. There is a total of 8 Smash Mouth songs in this movie. Step aside Shrek, you've just been smash-mogged by Zoom. So there you go, an introduction to the 4 special kids. You have a hench little girl, a girl that moves stuff with her head, a bloke that can piss off on command, and the master of inflation.
Oh fuck, I didn't know I had that mod on!
Well, back at the military base, Jack has been forcefully strapped down to a dentist chair, and Dr. Grant explains that he could either say no to the program and go straight to prison, or stay and they'll throw in $500k.
$500,000.
So with Jack swiftly on board, through the power of a PowerPoint transition, we learn that Miss Holloway was quite the fan of Zoom.
I have every issue of Captain Zoom and his amazing team.
And after a brief tour of the facility, cue another Smash Mouth fueled montage full of a bunch of weirdo children with various strange powers auditioning for the Zenith program.
Patriot, vampire, nationalist, a scared man. Really?
Now, it doesn't take a genius to decipher which 4 of the kids make it through to the judges' houses, or the Zenith program, or whatever it's called. So with the 4 kids selected, what do the military have in store for them? But we'll get to that. But first, time for the ads. So, sir, what seems to be the issue? Well, it's the strangest thing. I got bit by something, and now I've got some weird symptoms.
Ah yes, the classic. We hear it all the time, you know. We had a bloke come in the other day, say he got bit by a spider, and now he can climb walls. I don't believe him. May I ask what it was you were bit by exactly? So, there I was, preparing to shower. Then, I felt a sharp sting, and that's when I saw it. The tank. Okay, so just to get this clear, you're saying that you were bit by a tank? Yes, but that's not the whole thing. The symptoms I've had since the bite have been weird. So there I'll be. War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. Play now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. I see. So you're just randomly promoting the game War Thunder? Well, I mean, it certainly seems that way. Just randomly promoting War Thunder. Take control of 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations, ranging from armoured cars and biplanes of the 1920s to main fighter jets and battle tanks of today. See? I certainly do see, yes. How long has this been happening exactly? Well... Immerse yourself in the combat of War Thunder, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. Join a worldwide community of over 95 million players in epic PvP battles as you delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unrivaled amount of high quality content to explore, there is no game better suited for fans of military history. This is quite the unique case. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to prescribe you one course of War Thunder features a comprehensive customization system full of numerous camouflages, historical markings, and decorations for all vehicles, including community-created ones. And then that should clear it up. You just did it! You just did the War Thunder thing! What? Did I? You can play War Thunder for free right now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile devices using my links in the description or in the pinned comment below. New and returning players on PC and console that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of a premium account. But it's only for a limited time, so act fast. I did. War Thunder. So with the 4 kids selected, as Dylan tries his best Riz techniques on Summer,
You and I are destiny.
The finger, I could put a rock in it.
Jack briefly introduces himself to the kids. Meanwhile, we see that Concussion is still well on his way, with the countdown now down to 8 days. This sergeant bloke, who is called Larrabee, by the way, which wasn't very clear, warns Dr. Grant that if he doesn't get the kids battle ready in time, he'll whip out the radiation again. What a lovely chap.
Some with enough Gamma-13 to sterilize a trailer park.
Mrs. Holloway briefly tells Jack that he needs to lighten up.
I don't think you understand their sensitive condition.
And after another sick transition, we see Dr. Grant showing Jack his old Zoom suit as he goes through a period of reflection. Then cut to a Zoom comic being thrown down on the desk. You see what they did there? Wow, Zoom. Very clever. A little thematic cut there. Well, in the hopes of improving the kids' opinions on Jack, Mrs. Holloway digs out her comic book collection to school the kids about Zoom's superhero past.
Mr. Shepard is Captain Zoom. The incredible things that Zoom and his amazing team did to protect mankind.
Mint condition copies are like $40,000 each.
This is kind of the equivalent of when you try to explain to somebody how great and cool Kanye used to be. Minus all the... You know, we're in the process of this. Mrs. Holloway says this.
Faster than the Flash and Superman, all together.
Faster than the Flash and Superman combined. Something is telling me that that isn't true.
Are you serious? No way.
Well, Mrs. Holloway's hard work is diminished in about 5 seconds after a brief conversation between Jack and the kids.
There's no such thing as superheroes. You're not superheroes.
I think this group needs a bit of diversity. Why is it 4 white kids?
You're definitely white kids, I'll tell you that.
Oh, what? Well, cut to Cindy lifting a 2.5-ton concrete block with one hand as the scientists observe the kids' skills. Now, if only there was a way to cram in lots of information and various different scenes in rapid succession. Oh, that's right, there is. Now, if you're thinking, wow, this movie jumps around a lot and is full of montages, that's because it is. Sure, I'm paraphrasing some of the scenes here, but so far, the movie's pacing has been out of the window. And with that said, we see Miss Holloway fall over. Then her and Jack have a brief motivational conversation with the least obvious ADR scene known to man.
It's government propaganda. They made it up.
That is a PNG of Tim Allen. Then Miss Holloway and the military have a brief scientific conversation. Then there's another montage of the kids and Jack playing baseball as Cindy racks up thousands of dollars in damages. Bloody hell, she likes smashing windows, this kid. Well, in the dark hallway, we see Jack and Miss Holloway have yet another conversation where she fanboys over him.
The only real superhero left in the world.
And then has a go at him for taking the money to mentor the kids.
Happily getting paid to take your resentments out on these children.
They do say never meet your idols. Well, speaking of the kids, the gang march down another hallway towards the lab, and Cindy breaks Jack's hand just to feel something. Well, don't you worry, guys, because we are about to meet the greatest character in the entire movie, Mr. Pibb.
Is that you, Mr. Pibb?
Now, that might just be because he has no lines. It's fine, we can always ADR some in later.
Is that you, Mr. Pibb?
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Well, Summer touches Mr. Pibb, and we learn that she can seemingly feel what machines are thinking. I guess.
He thinks you've had an increase in mass.
Mr. Pibb.
Well, Mr. Pibb is quickly put to use as Jack and the kids sneak around the military facility, reaching a giant hangar door. And clever Mr. Pibb does some R2-D2 work, turning off the security cameras and unlocking the hangar door. So, what's in there? Some sort of land vehicle, a plane maybe, a military aircraft. Well, it's only a UFO. A UFO in a military base? It's just like real life. Now, I just want to say, I am not suicidal. Well, after sticking their hand in some goo and trolling a cow, when you have a huge military-owned UFO, where is the first place you would choose to go? The Wendy's drive-thru, of course. Now, if you had any doubt in your mind that this was a product placement, at the time of the movie's release, Wendy's actually had a collab with Zoom and featured Zoom-themed toys.
What kind of toys, yeah?
So after being plastered all over the news, Jack gets quite the earful when they arrive back at the military base.
I got you a hot chicken sandwich.
Later that night, we see that Jack is awakened by Cindy, dressed as a pink bunny rabbit. And no, this is not a dream. She opens up to Jack about how she feels like a strange outcast because of her powers.
Am I different?
And Jack gives her a pep talk to make her feel better.
You're special. There's nobody in the world that can do what you do.
Then she pulls a steel bench across the concrete just so she can sleep next to him. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about this, it's actually pretty clever. Well, in a quick change of pace, the next morning, the kids are being prepped for their first simulation. But before they can start, Dylan vanishes and walks off in a sulk. So what is this high-tech, military, superhero training battlefield simulation? Well, they got shot with lots of paintballs. What that's supposed to simulate, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Concussion is a paintball pro. And did someone say training? I think we know what that means. Cue the fun, goofy training montage. Although this time, it's not the splendid sounds of Smash Mouth, it's the classic Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, Queen smash hit, Under Pressure. What a bop. Are you kidding? It's a Smash Mouth cover. You actually cannot make this up. So after their paintball pummeling, the kids aren't too keen on Jack's training methods, as they express that they feel he doesn't really care for them.
You don't care about us.
And so, they walk off in a sulk too.
Could have handed them a freaking packet, yo.
Jack just can't do anything right, can he? Well, in the hopes of clawing back some valor, Jack visits Dylan in his solitary confinement chamber. They have a quick heart-to-heart where Jack reminisces on his past.
You know, to throw fish at each other, paint our face, guy stuff.
Guys being dudes.
But in the process, he accidentally reveals he had a brother in the Zenith program.
They dragged me and my older brother.
I didn't know you had a brother.
Release Mr. West.
Mr. West, Mr. West.
Speaking of brothers, in an ominous sequence with Larrabee, we see that Concussion is now only 2 days away.
Unfortunately, you stepped in a lobby with reflex swipe.
Ooh, things are getting serious now. I bet the kids must be hard in training. Oh wait, they've caught Dr. Grant in a zoo-style exhibit weather chamber. They then proceed to mildly torture Dr. Grant with various weather conditions.
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
I guess electrocuting Chevy Chase makes him slightly more offensive. If you shot Zoom with gamma radiation, he loses all of his powers. But if you shoot Dr. Grant with electricity, he gains the ability to do offensive accents. This scene also made me realise that the majority of the movie so far takes place in the military base. And not even in a 12 Angry Men, Reservoir Dogs, one location kind of way. The movie seems to consist of the gang messing around, then there's a montage, then a small serious scene, then repeat. Which leads us perfectly onto a serious scene, where Jack and Dylan have another heart-to-heart, as he plays a father figure role. Jack notices that Dylan seems to zone out randomly at times during conversations.
Dylan, I'm talking to you. Where do you go when you fuzz out like that?
ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Well, this alludes to the fact that Dylan has a power where he can sort of remotely see locations and what's happening in said locations in his mind without being there. So he can stalk women, I guess.
Hi people, and I'm back cooking again.
Well, Jack decides to appoint Dylan as head of the team.
These kids are gonna need a leader. I think that may be you.
But things take a sour turn just a few minutes later when, after asking Jack about a member of the original Zenith team who had similar mind powers to him, Dylan realises that Concussion was not only a part of the original Zenith team, but is the said brother Jack mentioned earlier.
Concussion was your brother.
Okay, I guess. I mean, this could have been a big reveal scene, but we were literally told all of this within the first 5 minutes of the movie. They could have very easily had this ongoing concussion attack, and then we also learn, along with Dylan, that Concussion, or Connor, was Jack's brother this entire time. You know, like a twist. Oh wait, it's about time that we have a montage. But this time, it's a sad one, guys, as Jack reminisces over his time in Team Zenith. Do you get it, guys? It's like Jack is seeing himself in the kids, but it's done in the most literal way possible. Well, back in the classroom, as Dylan continues his Riz attempt,
can I please smash, please?
We learn that Summer was abandoned by her parents because of her powers, feeding into this whole idea that they're a group of damaged, outcast kids. Well, just in time, Jack shows up, and the sad montage has seemingly converted him into a new man. With a quick motivational talk to hype up the kids.
Think about it. Control and execution. Come on, guys, follow me.
We head into, you guessed it, another training montage. But finally, this one doesn't have Smash Mouth music over the top of it. It's The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. Honestly, this is just a banger. I have nothing to say here. I used to have this song on my iPod Touch and play it on Guitar Hero. Well, we see that the kids have finally honed their skills, and just in time, because meanwhile, we see the military setting up the attack site. Dr. Grant explains that if Zoom could run fast enough, he could create a vortex that would convert Concussion from being good to evil. Wait, just like we saw in the intro animation. And again, don't ask me how this works. It just does, okay? This movie has a lot of science that doesn't make much sense. So with the plan locked in, we see a less nerdy Miss Holloway lend Summer a dress, playing a mother figure. It's almost like Jack and Miss Holloway are working as parents for the kids, as we learn this through these very, very deep heart-to-heart scenes. Surely this dynamic isn't foreshadowing anything, right? But what was this dress for exactly? Well, a prom, of course, to celebrate the kids surviving paintballs or something. Mr. Piv throws some shapes on the dance floor with Cindy. Dylan rizzes Summer, Jack rizzes Miss Holloway, then this miserable bugger storms the party, both literally and metaphorically, telling the kids to go for a run.
Kids, let's take a 10-mile run!
Then in response, Jack says this.
Boy, for a straight guy, you're dramatic.
Yeah, this movie didn't age great. Add that one to the list. Well, later that night, Jack is sneaking around yet again. He wakes the kids up with the classic flashlight tactic. And they wander into one of the facility's back rooms, where Jack discovers drawings from the original members of Team Zenith. Now, let's be honest, they did not draw this. Well, the kids take this as a cue for their superhero names. Ooh, big moment here, guys. So Jack takes a moment and comes up with some of the shittest names known to man.
The Incredible Bulk.
Oh, dude.
Let's call you Strong Girl. For you, let's go with Mental Chick and Invisitine.
Whoa.
The kids, of course, aren't too fond of their names, so in turn, they come up with even worse names.
You're Mega Boy.
Mega Boy.
Houdini. He's always escaping.
Princess.
And she's Wonder. Robo bitch.
Then they pull a Vin Diesel and do a family handshake.
Family.
But wait. Dylan conveniently has another vision attack where he sees into the control room, and here the gang find out the Concussion is not only alive, but he's back, and that's what they've been training for. Now again, a somewhat tense, dramatic moment, if you ignore Tim Allen's corny jokes in between.
Dr. Grant and Larrabee.
Tell me they're wearing women's dresses.
But once again, I get the kids are learning this for the first time, but as an audience, we've known this for the entire runtime, so it's not really that impactful. And we haven't spent anywhere near enough time or seen any significant character development for them finding out this info to be that big of a payoff either, because 80% of the movie's runtime has just been them messing about. Anyway, we see Jack storm off in a strop and confront Larrabee. Well, in turn, he gets thrown in solitary confinement, and in a dark turn of events, we see that big scary Concussion is now only 1 hour away, and the military prep the gamma radiation machine Oh shit, you just wait until one of the kids finds out about this. Oh wait, Dylan has been watching the entire thing in his head. But sadly, it's too late. Miss Holloway and the guards arrive to escort the kids to the battleground. As they march down the facility corridors to their impending doom, things aren't looking good. Until suddenly, Miss Holloway blows two of the guards. Wait, sorry. She attacks the guards with her hidden powers that she's had all along. Then this seemingly works as a catalyst for the kids to take out the remaining guards. And they make a hasty getaway. But Jack is still stuck in the confinement cell, remember? No worries, because Summer approaches the cell guard and levitates him in the air. And for some reason, Dylan is turned on by this.
That is so hot.
Cindy smashes the door down, Miss Holloway reveals her powers to Jack, and the gang is fully assembled. Meanwhile, as the radiation machine is charging, we hear the facility alarms ringing out.
What's that? What's happening?
The gang has only bloody made it into the hangar where they're attempting to steal the UFO again. Everybody pours onto it, Summer hotwires it with a brain, but Jack is still keeping watch. The UFO starts to leave without him, but luckily he manages to hop on at the last minute, and off they go. Thankfully, just in time too, because concussion is just 10 minutes away. So with the kids finally escaping the imminent threat of the battlefield, they fly away and arrive at the battlefield. Wait, what? Well, Jack demands that they drop him off for a family therapy session, and with not much choice in the matter, Jack is lowered down onto the battlefield. So on the rocky terrain below, we see Jack slowly approach the fierce red portal that looks like it was ripped straight out of Stranger Things. Finally, a serious, dramatic moment. Well, no, because it's once again ruined by the most obvious piece of ADR ever.
What am I doing?
What is it with this movie and dubbing unnecessary, obviously recorded voice lines over the top of scenes? I think you could add anything at this point.
Hello, I am superstar Tim Allen, and I am being held hostage in the recording booth. Please help me, please.
Well, sneakily, Summer uses her ChatGPT prompt powers to convince Mr. Pibb to help them save Jack.
I love AI. ChatGPT, I love ChatGPT.
But they'll have to act fast, because with a boom, we finally see Jack's brother Connor, and they have a tense standoff. Well, things get pretty heated pretty fast.
You took out the whole team.
You shouldn't have tried to stop me, Jackie.
Jackie.
Their concussion sends Jack flying through the air in a fit of rage. Angrily approaching Jack again, Connor hits him with yet another attack as the military watch on, and the situation spirals further and further for Jack. Well, to add to the trouble, up on the hill, the troops ready a net gun. Not entirely sure what that's supposed to do. Back on the ground, Connor gets ready to deliver the final blow to kill his brother off. But then out of nowhere, it's Mr. Pibb. And he isn't alone. The kids have turned up in the full super gang attire. Cindy steps forward to start the confrontation, but just as Connor is about to act, bang goes the net gun.
Fire!
Hurtling a huge net across the sky, and as expected, it doesn't really do much, with Connor batting it away towards Cindy. But wait! That's right, after shouting Zoom's name in a panic, it worked to reactivate Jack's powers as he zooms to Cindy's rescue. See what I did there? Jack and Cindy have a quick heart-to-heart, but things are far from safe as Connor aims his attacks towards the military. But it's okay, because they have something up their sleeve.
Load up the second net and prepare to fire.
Wish we had a second net.
Well, as Jack starts to devise a plan, he uses that Flash X Superman speed to sprint across the wasteland, through the military facility, and we finally get a look at that superhero suit-up scene. Even if he does look like a cyclist.
Actually, it's Zoom.
He said it! He said it!
Well, concussion fires another attack, but Jack speeds to the kids and says this.
Let's play ball.
Wait, it's just like when they were playing baseball earlier. So putting the plan into action, Cindy rips down a radio tower, Dylan insults Connor.
You kinda suck at this, don't you, dude?
And Summer throws some pebbles at him. But Zoom finally kicks into action and runs in a circle very fast. Wait, it's the Vortex plan with the made-up science from earlier. But how are they going to get concussion in there? The power of inflation, of course, took a belly bouncer's Connor into the air, sending him hurtling into Cindy as she hits a home run. But Connor narrowly misses the vortex.
Oh no, he's gonna miss!
But it's okay, because Miss Holloway blows... You know what? Miss Holloway steps in to save the day, sending Connor hurtling into Zoom's speed trap. Dr. Grant informs Zoom that they can save concussion. Now, I'm not sure entirely how Jack knew to make the vortex in the first place, but then needs to be told to close it, or how he even heard Dr. Grant. Anyway, let's throw some ADR in there.
Must save Connor!
So as Zoom attempts to close off the vortex through the power of shitty green screen and a few attacks, finally, the vortex is closed, and with a big boom, we see Connor has collapsed. His evil red eyes fade to a lovely, hunky, bright blue. Oh, wow.
Share with these baby blue eyes, eh?
And with that, he's no longer evil. I assume. Again, the scientific explanation isn't developed just yet. Well, Jack gets his brother back and introduces him to his finished family. But wait, what about the big bad military? Jack walks up to Larrabee and just mogs him, I guess. And that's it. And in a time skip of 3 months into the future, we of course get one final montage as we see the kids living happily ever after with their powers. Okay, ref, that is definitely not allowed. Dylan and Summer finally end up together as we see an injury lawsuit waiting to happen.
Injured at work? Call National Accident Helpline.
Then we see that the group have a Kim Possible-esque device that calls them to save the world. Is this hinting at a Zoom sequel? No. And judging by the performance of the first one, this is probably for the best. Oh, and of course, it wouldn't be an ending sequence without a bit of Smash Mouth. And the cherry on top, we get the classic 2000s bloopers sequence in the credits. I can't lie, I actually miss when light-hearted movies used to do this. Okay, so we made it through Zoom. What a journey that was, eh? Now I know what you're thinking. What did I think of it? Well, let's unpack it, shall we? Firstly, let's focus on the positives. So first off, regardless of what you think of the movie as a whole, it certainly works as a light-hearted time capsule of the 2000s. The cheesy jokes, the music, the PowerPoint transitions, the endless tropes, the bloopers in the credits. For somebody my age, it certainly is a hit of nostalgia, whether you enjoy that or not. A product of its time period. And on a technical front, honestly, everything else aside, I actually love how the movie was colour graded. The focus on the primary colours as they pop through the scenes, in the yellows of the suits, matched with the blue and red of the facility walls. I guess it feeds into the theme of children too, if you were to look a little bit deeper. And did you know this movie was shot in 35mm film? Which always helps the overall visuals, given that organic, grainy look that pumps a bit of life into the picture. Also, honestly, the kids' performances weren't awful. As far as child actors go, I've certainly seen worse.
I don't understand, Dad. Did they leave? Dad, are you alright? Dad?
And ultimately, an actor is only as good as their script. So as far as bland, cringy dialogue goes, I think they did as well as they could, given the material. So some brownie points there. And honestly, I've got to give some credit to Tim Allen. Again, the jokes were grating, but in terms of a comedy relief lead man that can deliver some level of heart in certain scenes within a 2000s family comedy movie, I think he fit the role relatively well. Again, albeit a poorly written one. This isn't a movie, nor a character that demands some high-level emotional performance. So for something light-hearted and a little bit goofy, I think Tim Allen was a decent call, even if he did get nominated for a Razzie. That he lost to the Wayans brothers for Little Man. But it's fine, because Mr. Pibb won Best Actor that year. But sadly, as for the positives of the movie, that's pretty much all I can say. Now, as for the movie's shortcomings, let me just pull my list out here. I think the film's primary issue that shines above all was the entire structure and pacing of the film. If we actually boil down what happens in the movie, concussion is attacking, they find a group of kids, the kids get trained, they mess about a lot, they have a mediocre final battle, and that is literally it. The movie consisted of numerous montages to swiftly and lazily push along the minimal plot, and then in between, it's just the kids and Jack doing nothing, then rinse and repeat. There's barely any character development, and the small amount that there is so surface level and shoved in your face. Yeah, sure, Jack is uptight and moody, then by the end of it, he cares for the kids, and there's this whole family value. But the problem is, so much of the runtime is just them pissing about that you don't even get invested in any of the characters anyway. Then the small glimpses of emotional or semi-serious scenes that we get either just don't deliver or are ruined by some cringeworthy joke or blatant ADR that instantly takes you out of it. Also, I can't ignore this, but Cindy, Dylan, and Summer all have some level of an attempt of a bit of a deeper scene, but then Tucker is just ignored. It's almost like he basically didn't exist in the movie. He has zero presence. He's just a walking, funny, fat kid 2000s movie trope.
He's a lazy little chubba bubba.
And again, like I mentioned earlier, basically the entire movie does take place in the military facility, which isn't objectively bad, but if you're going to set a movie in one location, you better bet that your dialogue and characters have to be so well written or engaging to do all of the heavy lifting. And in this case, I don't think that could be further from the truth. Not to mention that every big payoff or reveal of the movie doesn't work because we were told the entire backstory within the intro sequence. It's just such a strange decision in my opinion. And how the hell that had a $75 million budget, I have no idea. Maybe the most impressive part of the film was how they managed to waste $75 million so fast. Maybe that's why it's called Zoom. Overall, Zoom, whilst being a great reflection of the time period it was made in, and sure, as a kids movie to be consumed by kids, it's fine, I don't think it's offensively bad by any means, but it doesn't offer anything for you to actually enjoy or laugh at, besides how poorly made it is. But objectively, as a whole, Zoom is a bit of a nothing burger of a film. It's a hollow shell where barely anything happens narratively across an eclectic mess of a plot spanning 90 minutes, with the entire cast pissing about in one place, with a smattering of poorly written dialogue delivered by shallow two-dimensional characters. So overall, does it live up to how much I liked it as a kid? No. Obviously not. But maybe that's not the point. It's a crappy 2000s movie I consumed and enjoyed as a movie, and that's fine. Sure, I'm here judging it as an adult for a YouTube video, but we all have crappy media we loved as a kid, and it's fun to revisit it all these years later. Believe it or not, I didn't think that this movie would hold up, watching it as a fully grown man, but it doesn't remove the fact that I loved it as a kid, nor does it ruin the movie for me in any way. So no, it certainly wasn't as good as I remember, but I'm not a child living in the 2000s. Sure, I think I'd probably rate it ever so slightly higher than the next guy because it's soaked in nostalgia, but if I were to rate it on Letterboxd, feel free to follow my Letterboxd below if you want to stalk me and judge my movie taste, by the way, I'd probably give it a 1.5. So there you go, that was Zoom. Do I recommend you watch it? No, not really, but hey, it was nice to do a movie video after all this time, and hopefully you guys enjoyed some of it along the way. And thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring the video and making it all possible. Remember, you can use the links in the description or in the pinned comment to try out the game for yourself on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile devices. And new and returning players on PC and console that haven't played in the last 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of a premium account. But it's only available for a limited time, so be quick. And with all of that said, goodbye!